Dear viewers, today, we will explore one of Japan's oldest and proudest industries, fishing and aquaculture. Through this video, we will take you through 3 unique scenes. From catching anchovies with a large purse seine at night, to the process of cultivating and harvesting scallops, and finally catching tuna and yellowtail in the vast ocean. All will be harmoniously connected to portray a panoramic picture of Japan's fisheries industry, a combination of tradition and modernity. Anchovies, despite their small size, have a great significance in Japan's marine economy. This is a popular fish in the Pacific Ocean, where Japanese fishermen have been attached for many generations. Anchovy fishing is not only a major source of livelihood but also a cultural heritage, connecting the past and present of coastal people. Hundreds of years ago, Japanese fishermen started this job with manual methods, wooden boats, hand nets and oil lamps. Today, they have switched to using modern fishing vessels, equipped with advanced technology such as global positioning systems, GPS, sonar, and large purse seine nets. Catching anchovies requires not only technical skills, but also a deep understanding of nature, especially the migration cycle of this fish species. In the summer, anchovies often gather in large schools, which is convenient for fishing. This is the time when fishing villages are busiest, preparing for trips that last all night, when the lights from the ships illuminate the dark sea. When night falls, the seaport gradually becomes bustling. Large ships that are lying still suddenly come alive with the light from hundreds of headlights and the rumbling sound of engines. A modern fishing boat is not only a means of transportation but also a miniature factory. Before each trip, all systems must be carefully checked. Engine and electrical system, the engineer on board will check the engine, ensuring the machinery operates smoothly. The headlight system, an important factor in attracting fish, is tested to check the brightness. Large purse seine net, giant nets, hundreds of meters long, are pulled out and checked for each mesh. Fishermen carefully patch the torn parts by hand, using techniques they learned from their ancestors. Prepare food and spirit. For long trips through the night, food and water are fully prepared. On board, simple dishes such as rice balls, miso soup, and green tea are prepared. This is not only a source of energy but also a way to keep the body warm in the cold night at sea. When the clock points to 8 p.m., the boats begin to leave the port. The light from the ship's headlights illuminates a large area of the sea, creating a magical scene. Searching for schools of anchovies. The captains rely on experience and modern technology to find schools of fish. Sonar, a device that detects fish underwater, emits an audio signal, helping to determine the location and size of the school of fish. When a school of fish is discovered, the fishermen begin to prepare. The ship's headlights are turned on at maximum brightness, creating a large beam of light underwater. The anchovies, which are attracted to the light, begin to gather. A large seine net is dropped into the water, surrounding the area of the school of fish. This is a stage that requires close coordination. The captain directs, through the radio. The captain instructs the fishing team to adjust the speed of the ship and the location of the net. Fishermen drop the net. Each meter of net hundreds of meters long is dropped into the sea. When the net has completely surrounded the school of fish, the modern winch system will pull the net back. The sparkling anchovies, reflecting the lights on the boat, create a beautiful scene in the dark night. Pulling the net is the hardest part. The anchovies trapped in the net are brought onto the boat in large batches. Sorting, on the deck. Fishermen sort the fish according to size and quality. The qualified fish will be transferred to the cold storage compartment immediately. preservation, the refrigeration system on the boat uses modern technology, keeping the temperature stable to ensure the fish are always fresh. A young fisherman shared, "Each fish is the result of a collective effort. Every time we see the net full, we feel proud and excited." Anchovy fishing in Japan not only brings economic benefits but is also a symbol of perseverance, ingenuity and love for the sea. Anchovies are the main ingredient in many traditional dishes such as sushi. Sashimi, and fish sauces. The annual output of anchovies brings in billions of yen, contributing greatly to the GDP of the fisheries industry. Sustainability and responsibility. Japanese fishermen always strictly follow regulations on seasons and net sizes, and catch quotas to protect natural resources. The government also promotes marine conservation programs to ensure sustainable development for the fisheries industry. As the sun begins to rise, boats loaded with anchovies return to port. The scene at the port in the early morning is bustling. Fishermen are busy moving fish ashore. Traders are preparing for auctions. And laughter is heard everywhere. This first scene not only recreates a vivid anchovy fishing trip but also conveys a message about the connection between people and the sea. Through this work, Japanese fishermen not only continue their tradition but also build a sustainable industry for future generations. As the first light of day gradually broke over the sea, fishing boats began to return to shore after a long night of work. The fishermen were tired but filled with joy as they saw the precious spoils they had harvested. Each boat brought back not only tuna and yellowtail, but also a part of the soul of traditional Japanese fishing. However, the diversity of Japan's fisheries resources does not stop at large sea fish. At the same time, another important part of Japan's fisheries industry continued to thrive: the scallop farming and fishing industry. Fishermen returned to their familiar jobs, cultivating scallops on the seabed. A job that requires patience and highly specialized techniques. In Japanese cuisine, scallops are not only a familiar ingredient but also a symbol of richness and sophistication. With their natural sweetness and soft texture, scallops are the stars of many famous dishes such as sashimi, sushi, and grilled dishes. Japan, with its long coastline and clear waters, has long been an ideal place for exploiting and cultivating scallops. This profession not only brings high economic value but is also the pride of many generations of fishermen. From simple small boats to modern fishing and farming vessels, the story of Japanese scallops is a testament to the harmony between tradition and technology. When the scallop harvest season begins, Japanese ports become busier than ever. Large ships equipped with modern machinery begin to leave the port, heading to the deep seas, where scallops thrive. Checking nets and equipment. Scallop nets are often specially designed, with small meshes and metal frames to easily pull scallops from the seabed. Setting up a positioning system. Deep water areas where scallops gather are identified using GPS and oceanographic maps. Preparing manpower. Fishing crews usually consist of 10 to 15 people, each with a specific task such as operating equipment, pulling nets, or sorting scallops. The captain, who is experienced and knowledgeable about ocean currents, leads the crew to the scallop area. Sonar systems help locate the scallops on the seabed. Tow netting. A large net is lowered and dragged close to the seabed, where scallops cling to sand or rock surfaces. This step requires care to avoid damaging the scallop's delicate shells. Harvesting. After the net is pulled up, hundreds of fresh scallops are collected. On deck, fishermen sort the scallops by size and quality. In addition to natural exploitation, Japan is also famous for its sea scallop farms. This is a sustainable method that not only protects the environment but also meets the increasing demand of the market. Scallop farms are usually located in shallow waters, where there are gentle currents and abundant natural food sources. Cultivation cages. Large cylindrical cages are lowered into the sea. Inside are net rafts for the scallops to cling to and grow. Scallop breeds. The scallops are carefully selected from famous regions such as Hokkaido. They are raised in a controlled environment before being released into the cages. Cultivation process. Scalp farming requires constant care. Regular inspections, fishermen regularly dive to check the cages, ensuring that no other creatures such as starfish or barnacles cling to them, affecting the growth of the scallops. Improving water quality. Sensors are installed to monitor salinity, temperature, and oxygen levels in the water. After 12 to 18 months, the scallops reach the optimal size for harvesting. This is when the fishermen begin the hard but exciting process: pulling the cages onto the ship. The cages are pulled onto the deck using a pulley system. The fishermen open each cage and collect the scallops into large containers. Grading. Scallops are divided into categories according to size and shape. Those that meet the standards will be kept for sale or processing, while the smaller ones will be released back into the sea. Storage. On board, the scallops are kept in cold seawater tanks, ensuring their freshness until they reach the dock. After harvesting, the scallops are taken to processing plants, where they are processed and packaged. Cleaning and shelling. Scallops are washed with seawater to remove sand and impurities. The shelling process requires high technology to keep the meat intact. Packaging and exporting. The scallop meat is vacuum packed and frozen. Japan exports scallops to many countries, with the US and Europe being the main markets. Scallops are not only an economic resource but also a source of pride for the Japanese people. The scallop farming and fishing industry provides jobs for thousands of coastal residents. Scallops are one of the largest seafood exports, bringing in billions of yen each year. Cultural symbol. In Japanese culture, scallops symbolize wealth and prosperity. Coastal festivals often feature scallop dishes, expressing gratitude to the ocean, faced with challenges such as climate change and pressure from international markets. Japan's scallop farming and fishing industry is transforming rapidly. Programs for natural resource regeneration and pollution reduction are implemented synchronously. Traditional and modern methods in this profession. Cultural festivals related to scallops in coastal areas of Japan. Stories of the lives of scallop fishermen. Domestic and international scallop consumption markets. I will add now, scallop fishing and farming in Japan dates back centuries. Coastal areas such as Hokkaido, Aomori and Miyagi have been harvesting scallops since the Edo period, 1603 to 1868. At that time, fishermen mainly used their hands or rudimentary tools such as baskets and bamboo sticks to catch scallops along the shore. Local folk tales tell of scallops as a gift from the sea god. Fishermen believe that catching scallops in spring and summer will bring good luck and a bountiful harvest. In the 20th century, scallop farming techniques began to develop strongly. After World War II, the Japanese government encouraged coastal communities to turn to aquaculture to increase production and improve livelihoods. 1952, the hanging cage method for scallop farming was first introduced in Hokkaido, minimizing environmental impact. 1970s, modern technology such as mechanical pulleys, sonar, and automation systems were introduced, improving fishing efficiency. Traditional methods. In the past, Japanese fishermen relied on experience and natural observations to catch scallops. Following currents, fishermen memorize ocean currents and seawater temperatures, which greatly affect the growth of scallops. Inshore fishing. In shallow waters, scallops are often harvested by hand or using simple equipment such as sea rakes. Modern methods. Today, modern technology has revolutionized the scallop industry. Automation technology. Cultivation cages and trawling equipment are remotely controlled, reducing manual labor. Onboard cold storage. As soon as the scallops are caught, they are refrigerated or frozen to keep them fresh. 11. Cultural festivals related to scallops. Scallops are not only an economic product but also closely associated with the cultural life of the Japanese people. A scallop cooking competition attracts thousands of famous chefs. Cultural performances such as traditional dances and songs praising the sea. Meaning, the festival is not only an opportunity to promote the product but also to honor the efforts of fishermen and preserve fishing traditions. The scallop industry not only requires patience but also brings many interesting stories about the lives of fishermen. Sato, a 35-year-old fisherman in Hokkaido, shared, "I have been attached to the sea since I was a child. Every time I release the cage, I feel like I am sowing seeds of hope. Scallops not only feed my family but also help me understand the value of perseverance." Seafaring families. Many families have relied on scallops for generations. Kiyomi, a 70-year-old woman, said, "I followed my husband out to sea when I was young. Now my son has followed his father's career. Scallop fishing is not only a job but also a source of pride for us. Japanese scallops are highly valued in the international market for their superior quality. Domestic market. Restaurants and supermarkets, fresh scallops are a main ingredient in sashimi, sushi, and grilled dishes. Processing industry. A large part of the scallop production is processed into frozen or canned products. International markets. Exports. Japan is a major exporter of scallops, with key markets including the US. After long days at sea, with the scallop crates full and the scallop farms in full swing, we continue our journey out to sea, where the Japanese fishermen return with their large purse seine nets. This time, they are not only catching small fish but also facing bigger, tougher targets, tuna and yellowtail, precious fish of enormous size, promising great economic value. The smooth footage moves from the scallop farms to the tuna boats, showing the connection between traditional and modern fisheries. From patient work on the seabed to tense battles on the water, Japanese fishermen always face new challenges and constantly strive to uphold traditional values on every trip. The tuna and yellowtail fishing industry in Japan is one of the oldest and most traditional fisheries. In particular, in recent years, Japan has become one of the pioneering countries in applying modern technology to fishing. Tuna and yellowtail fishing not only requires high techniques but also requires a deep understanding of nature and the fluctuations of the ocean. Tuna, especially yellowfin tuna, has a very high economic value, becoming the main ingredient for globally famous sashimi and sushi dishes. Yellowfin tuna, with its characteristic shape and impressive size, is also equally popular. Especially in markets such as Japan, Korea and the United States. In this scene, we will witness the process of catching tuna and yellowtail with modern purse seine nets, thereby depicting the perseverance and precise strategy of Japanese fishermen. Tuna and yellowtail fishing takes place mainly in the deep seas around the remote islands of Japan, where fishery resources are abundant. The southern waters of Japan, especially the area around the Ogasawara Islands, are where many large tuna fishing vessels operate. The working environment is very hot, harsh, especially in the summer and autumn, when the weather can change unexpectedly. Big waves and strong winds are indispensable factors in the fisherman's work, making each sea trip a battle of wits with nature. Modern equipment. Fishing vessels are equipped with GPS navigation systems, sonar, and optimal support tools to search for and identify schools of fish. Purse nets are specially designed to catch fish quickly and effectively without damaging fishery resources. Crew. Each fishing boat typically has a crew of netters, mechanics, cooks, and sailors. Each with an important role to play throughout the trip. Each workday lasts from early morning until late at night, sometimes lasting for weeks when conditions are unfavorable. The scene begins with the fishing boat setting out in the early morning. Just as the sun is rising, the fishermen are wearing protective gear, preparing all the necessary equipment to set sail. Each sea trip lasts from 3 to 7 days, depending on weather conditions and the target catch. Using sonar and satellites. First, the fishing boat uses sonar and satellites to locate schools of tuna and yellowtail. The fishermen must be very meticulous when reading the data from these detectors, as even the slightest mistake can result in the net not catching fish or catching the wrong type of fish. Analyzing natural signs, in addition to using modern technology, fishermen also rely on natural signs such as changes in wind, waves, and the location of seabirds to identify schools of fish. These signs are the result of hundreds of years of experience passed down from previous generations. Once schools of tuna and yellowtail are identified, fishermen begin deploying their purse seine nets. This is one of the most sophisticated and complex fishing methods. Purse seining process, the purse seine is dropped into the sea from the boat, pulling a large arc around the school of fish. Smaller boats will move into the middle of the school of fish, helping to herd the school closer for easier fishing. Coordination. To catch fish effectively, fishermen need to coordinate rhythmically, from controlling the boat to pulling the net. Sometimes, fishing is only successful when the entire team works together, as a unified body. From dropping the net to pulling the fish onto the boat. Once the fish are pulled onto the boat, processing begins immediately to preserve the freshness of the fish. Fish gutting and preparation. Fishermen quickly gut the fish, removing the internal organs and inedible parts. Tuna and yellowtail are cut into large fillets, then packaged and refrigerated on board. Each fishing boat has its own cold storage to keep the fish fresh for a long time. Food processing. Some boats are also equipped with a kitchen to prepare dishes from tuna and yellowtail for the crew. Fresh tuna sashimi is a popular dish on fishing boats. Tuna and yellowtail fishing not only affects fishermen but also has a strong impact on the economy and community. Domestic consumption market. Tuna and yellowtail are important ingredients in traditional Japanese dishes. Every year, thousands of tons of tuna are consumed in sushi restaurants and supermarkets. Exports. Japan is one of the world's largest tuna exporters. Major markets include the United States, China and Southeast Asian countries. Although tuna and yellowtail fishing bring great economic value, they also face the risk of declining fish stocks due to overfishing. To deal with this problem, Japan has implemented many measures to protect fish stocks, including limiting the number of fishing vessels, limiting the size of fish that can be caught, and implementing sustainable tuna farming strategies. At the end of the scene, the fishing boat returns to port with its spoils of fresh tuna and yellowtail, the sunlight shining on the sparkling fish tanks. This image concludes the story of fishing, opening the story of the next journeys in the Japanese fishing industry, where fishermen not only maintain traditional jobs but also face new challenges from nature and the international market.